Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Girls in the Dark. I'm your host, Rachel.
And I'm your other host, Pooja.
Today, we're going to be diving into the really eerie disappearance of Brian Shaffer. He was a medical student at Ohio State University, and he disappeared one night while out drinking with his friends. Pretty much vanished into thin air. He was seen entering the bar, but was not seen leaving the bar on security footage, and he has not been seen since then, and that was 2006.
20 years ago.
Yeah,
I think this year's the 20th anniversary of this.
Yeah, back in April.
Man, this is going to be a one hell of a case.
Nothing adds up.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be another one where we disagree.
This should be interesting then.
It should be interesting. Before we get started, if you're liking this podcast, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe and get the word out there.
With that being said, let's get into it. Brian Shaffer was a medical student at Ohio State University. On the night of March 31st, 2006, classes at OSU ended for spring break. Shaffer and his father Randy had dinner together. A few weeks prior, on March 6th, his mother Renee had passed away from myelodysplasia, a type of blood cancer that affects the bone marrow. Brian's father noted during the dinner that his son seemed exhausted, having spent the entire week studying for upcoming exams. At 9 p.m., Shaffer met up with a friend, William Florence, nicknamed Clint, at a bar in Columbus called the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The bar was on an upper level of a complex, and the main escalator was monitored by cameras. About an hour later, Shaffer called his girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, who had returned to her home in Toledo to visit with family. She and Brian had an upcoming trip to Miami scheduled for spring break at the beginning of April, where she believed, along with their family and friends, that he would propose to her. During the night, Shaffer and his friend Clint went bar hopping, making their way down to the Arena District. At each location, the two had one shot of hard liquor, according to Florence. After midnight, Shaffer and Florence met up with another friend, Meredith Reed, in the Short North. Reed gave them a ride back to the Ugly Tuna and joined them for a last round of drinks. Shaffer separated from the two while they were still in the bar, saying that he was going to check out the band that was playing. He was last seen on a security camera outside the bar just before 2 a.m. The two men tried to find Shaffer. They called his phone. They waited outside the bar after it had closed at 2. When they couldn't find him among the rest of the bar patrons leaving for the night, they assumed that he had returned to his apartment without saying goodbye. Shaffer's father and girlfriend tried calling him that weekend, but neither got any response. Alexis called Brian's phone that weekend to discuss their trip, but when his phone went right to voicemail, she just assumed that he was sleeping off a hangover. On Sunday, she went to his apartment. Brian's brother Derek arrived a few hours later. On that Monday morning, Brian Shaffer missed the flight to Miami that he and Alexis Wagner had scheduled. They reported him then missing to the Columbus police. Police started the search for Shaffer, where he was last seen at the Ugly Tuna Saloona. They reviewed security cameras, which confirmed that Shaffer, Florence, and Reed went up to an escalator to the bar's main entrance at 1:15 a.m. Shaffer was seen on camera outside the bar at 1:55 a.m., speaking briefly with two women, and then moved off camera, walking towards the bar entrance. The two women Brian was talking to outside of the bar do not look at him as he's off camera, making it difficult to tell if he went back inside after the bar. After that, he was never seen on any of the security footage for the rest of the night. His two friends were seen leaving the bar, but Shaffer was nowhere to be found. Authorities placed flyers in the vicinity, but no leads came out of any of them. Investigators speculated that Shaffer could have possibly changed his clothes or put on a hat inside the bar and left without being noticed by any of his friends. However, after meticulously reviewing the security footage, they were confident that he did not go down the escalator in a disguise. They also wondered if Brian could have left the building through another route. A service door, which was not generally used by the public, was a short distance from where Brian had last been seen. This door led to a hallway with an elevator and stairwell, which led to a construction site, and other exits like the employee service door. The emergency exit was on the side of the bar, usually left open for people to smoke. There was a security camera that was supposed to pan towards the emergency door if it was opened. However, as the alarm was usually set off due to people frequently going in and out, it's likely that the camera didn't do this if he opened the door. One camera panned throughout the entire area, while the other was operated manually. If Brian went back into the bar through the emergency exit door and the camera wasn't panned at the exact moment, it's possible that he could have left completely unnoticed. If this were the case, cameras in that area may have missed Shaffer. However, investigators believed that this would have been difficult to walk through even for someone who was sober, and Shaffer had been drinking all night. This led them to believe that he did not exit through the construction area. Officers looked at footage from other bars to see if their cameras could explain exactly how Shaffer left the Ugly Tuna, but still, no footage showed any sign of him. Police used dogs to extend the search from the Ugly Tuna. They inspected dumpsters, waste containers to see if Shaffer had fallen inside of one. They asked residents if they had seen any sign of Shaffer. At his apartment on King Avenue, 6 blocks from the Ugly Tuna, his car was still parked outside. Inside, nothing seemed off. After he disappeared, the Columbus police activated a pinging service on his phone through Singular. Pings would only register if the phone was turned on, as it would reflect the network's capability of connecting with a device. At first, it was confirmed that his phone was turned off by 2:01 a.m. when Meredith called using Florence's phone. From Saturday until Monday evening, there was no activity. By Monday evening, the pinging service began communicating with the phone, registering a signal from a cell tower near Kenny Road and West Lane Avenue. Initially, it consistently pinged the Lane Avenue tower, suggesting that the phone was in that area for a period of time. Over the following weeks, multiple pings were recorded, indicating that the phone was staying in the West Columbus area. Then it began pinging towers in the more specific West Belt region, suggesting that the phone was moving. It later communicated with towers in Hilliard, which is likely when his girlfriend made the call to his phone and it rang. Investigators concluded that this probably meant that the phone was traveling in a car. They concluded that it had to have been turned on to communicate with the towers, that it may have had enough signal to ping, but not enough to receive calls, which would explain why it never rang during that time. It's possible that the phone had been turned on or off to conserve battery. Alexis Wagner called Shaffer's phone every night before going to bed for a long time after his disappearance. She said that it usually went straight to voicemail. However, one night in September, it rang 3 times. His phone provider, Singular, said that this may have been due to a computer glitch. However, a ping from the phone was detected at a cell tower in Hilliard, 14 miles northwest of Columbus. When Wagner called and got a ring through 5 months after he disappeared, she called again and it rang through. She asked her brother to try, and this worked for him as well. The last successful ring happened between 3 and 5 a.m. By 8 a.m. the following morning, it returned to only going straight to voicemail. 2 days later, on September 10th, his phone began ringing on and off again throughout the day. They contacted Brian's dad and the police, however, this failed to generate any further leads. Shaffer's father and his 2 friends were asked to take lie detector tests. His father and Reed passed, however, his friend Florence refused to take one. Florence also failed to work with a grand jury subpoena. Florence allegedly told Wagner that Brian was missing, but told authorities that he was probably at home. Randy Shaffer continued to search for his son. A psychic he visited told him that Shaffer's body was in the water near a bridge pier. Randy and his other son Derek bought waders and spent their free time along the shores of the Olentangy River, which flows through Columbus, adjacent to the Ohio State campus. While they never found any trace of Shaffer, this led some to wonder if he had somehow come into contact with foul play, or was perhaps the victim of the Smiley Face murders. Police eventually rejected this theory. Brian's father, Randy, passed away in September 2008 during a heavy windstorm when a branch flew off from a nearby tree and struck him. When his obituary was posted online, a condolence message appeared reading, "To Dad, love Brian, from U.S. Virgin Islands." But police traced the message to a public computer in Franklin County and confirmed it was a hoax. Brian Shaffer has never been seen since that night in 2006. What happened to him? Why wasn't he seen leaving the Ugly Tuna Saloon that night? Was he the victim of an accident? Did he come into contact with foul play on his walk home? Or did he decide to leave and start a new life? Pooja, can I just say before we get started, your hair looks really pretty today.
Oh, thanks, Rachel.
Like any case that we do, there are multiple different theories. None of them really quite line up, but apparently we have different thoughts on what happened.
Yeah, and when I say that, I think we're going to disagree. I don't think I have like a strong stance here. People just have the craziest theories about what happened. It's so open-ended.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, sure. He could have walked out of there through an emergency exit and started a new life. But like there are people out there who are theorizing about him being queer and being hidden, and he
interesting. I didn't know they were.
There's a whole slew of people out there who think that he like slipped his phone into one of the girls' bags.
I saw that. Do you think the queer theory is because he was handsome? People like to speculate on that.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like people, obviously there's a camp of people who like think he was gonna propose to his girlfriend. Like, you know, that's not, and you can obviously be queer and still have a straight relationship. I do think it has something to do with him being like very handsome, like classically handsome. There was this like unsettlingness about him, like he was never like happy or whatever in his life, and I feel like that's often attributed to like people who weren't able to like come out and be their full selves. And it sounds kind of like Brian was dabbling in this world of not being able to be his true self. Like he was training to be a doctor, like going to school to be a doctor, but didn't really want to do that. That being said, I have a friend of a sister's, a friend of a sister, a sister of a friend, I have a sister of a friend that is a surgeon currently that doesn't really want to be a surgeon. She wants to be a dancer. So it's like maybe that's quite common in the medical community too. But there's this whole thing around like, who was Brian really and what did he want to be?
Personally, I don't think that he just started a new life. However, with that being said, I think his mom had died not even a month before.
Right.
Like that month she had passed away. So I'm assuming that there was a long battle with her terminal illness. That can certainly make you really question, what am I doing? Am I really doing the right thing in this life? To anyone who was saying that he was acting differently or solemn, in addition to him mourning his mother's death, I think that could also be attributed to him questioning his purpose in life, maybe not so much a gay angle, but just like what he was.
I did have like a moment of wondering, like, is there queerness in this story? I think there's also like, we want to dive into this, like really, like there's two ways to think about it. Either you think this was like a purposeful end to his life or accidental. And I kind of think it was an accident.
I do think it was an accident as well. I'm curious what you think specifically in terms of an accident, because I think this is where we kind of differ.
I know I was very quick to be like, oh, he fell out of the doorway that was into a construction site.
Second case, consecutive case where we're talking about people maybe being in a construction site.
It's not that I don't trust construction sites and workers.
If that did happen, if he did fall down a shaft into a construction site, his body would have been there. It wouldn't have been that he got buried in cement. Like, they would have seen his body there. Right.
Like, that's what you assume. And that's what we assumed with the previous case as well, where you know, there was the psychic. This is happening in like 2006. Like, I feel like we're more recent enough where you could like look under, like, use some kind of technology to see if there's anything there.
Yeah. But no one reported seeing anything. There's a theory that he somehow wound up in a dumpster and that the garbage had been taken.
I feel like this idea of like a body getting thrown in the dumpster, like, oh, well, we missed it. It was thrown in the trash and now it's in a landfill. Like, that feels like such a kind of like cop out for missing persons kind of thing. It's like, oh, must have just missed that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like something more odd happened here. Although there's a lot of people online that think, it's very easy for the footage from the security cam to just have just missed him.
The front of the building, that it just missed him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, investigators seem to have poured a meticulous amount of time into finding him through the security footage. I had read that they pondered if maybe he had put on a hat or changed clothes, but that didn't seem like that was very likely. So I'm kind of leaning with the investigators on this one, that he didn't leave, at least through that exit.
Yeah, and then my wonder is, like, why would he have left through any other exit?
I wonder if he was just drinking and, like, nothing.
You love to explore, as you, yes, sure.
So I could see him just maybe not through a, like, cutesy exploring way, just, like, getting confused if this is the door to leave. I don't know what the Ugly Tuna Saloona looks like on the inside, but he could have been confused. He could have wanted to get away from his friends if he wanted to do an Irish goodbye.
The Ugly Tuna Saloona.
Love that name, by the way.
Love that name. Something I haven't seen in this case is, like, a map of that mall. Like, what? We've seen, like, the outside of it.
The Ugly Tuna Saloona is still around.
Oh.
It closes at 2 a.m. Oh. We have
Going
enough time.
Out in Columbus.
I don't see any maps of what the Ugly Tuna Saloona looked like on the inside. I can see, like, the mall that it was a part of, and maps of what people, the direction people think Brian may have taken leaving the bar to go home, or like, possible ways that he could have gone home. But yeah, so I am curious where these doors were in the Ugly Tuna Saloona.
Yeah. I mean, I can see getting, like, lost in a mall. Like, he's had...
Yeah.
He was a 27-year-old man. Like, I feel like 8 shots, even at 27. He took shots all around the town.
Yeah.
And came right back. Like,
you're not in your best senses.
No.
Not saying that in a bad way, saying that you're not maybe noticing things or paying attention fully. And also considering that his mother had just passed away, you could be consumed by your grief and not fully there because of that as well. And it was also finals season, so I'm sure he was incredibly stressed out being a med student and studying for his exams. So this could have been like a night to unwind. He just had a horrible year, and he just goes out through an exit not thinking anything other than just, oh, this is a door.
You just assume, like a man walking around drunk even would be safe, but maybe he wasn't safe.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he met up with foul play.
That's what my theory is. And you typically think like more about women coming into contact with someone who are hurt, who is going to have horrible intentions, but it does happen to men. I think that he did leave through one of those exits that was either the emergency exit that wasn't monitored, or one of the service store exits that, and maybe just because it had been open all night, like people were going in and out smoking, maybe the camera just hadn't panned at that time, and it was just unfortunate that it didn't catch him leaving. Dogs had traced his scent to a nearby Wendy's.
Oh.
Like, so...
police dogs.
Yeah, police dogs. Kuma.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I asked that question. I was like, yeah, of course. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they had traced his scent from the bar and found it at a nearby Wendy's.
Huh.
And it's like, maybe he just wanted to grab a burger or something.
Sure, yeah, late night Wendy's. Sounds great.
Oh, yeah. And it was known for being a rough area.
Where the Wendy's was?
Yeah. So maybe he had come into contact with someone there. Maybe someone tried to rob him. There was no sign of a struggle anywhere, but he could have, I don't know. And he was a guy, and like we're saying, like, you don't think of men really getting hurt when it comes to like, getting kidnapped or like robbed or anything like that. So maybe he thought it would be fun. Maybe he wanted to keep the party going. Maybe he got into the car of these people who, maybe he was talking to someone on the way to the Wendy's, like, hey, you want to grab Wendy's with me? And he got into their car and like,
yeah, it's just bizarre to me. And like, obviously we can talk about Uncle Bob raiding, but like, obviously investigators have and continue to be very passionate about this case.
I would give them a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I feel like for this one,
they really pulled out the stops.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that they couldn't find an answer, but
yeah,
that happens with these mysteries. When people discuss the possibility of him starting a new life, people look into, like, maybe he wasn't happy being a doctor.
Right.
He had credit card debt. He had a history of wandering off without explanation. People sometimes bring up that he knew Spanish.
Okay.
And maybe he left to go to Puerto Rico. He had his ID on him, so maybe he left, and, like, because you wouldn't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. I feel like those are theories where people want to believe that this person is still alive.
That was my gut, is that, like, if it's like, oh, he's just, living a better life.
Yeah.
It feels like something you tell yourself.
Yeah. The video that we had just watched had mentioned him saying that he wanted to be a beach bum.
Right.
I say that every single day of my life.
Right.
I'm not actually going to do it.
Right.
I think there's way too much weight placed on things that people say when they're dreaming.
Yeah.
In 2 decades, there's been no paper trail of him.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why and he doesn't strike me as the type of person who would have left it all.
Right. Like, there's a little bit, like, you just leave being a doctor, and then what happens to you? Like, what are you doing? You think he's out there playing guitar somewhere, starting a band? Like,
that's, like, don't musicians want recognition too? Even if they don't want to be Elvis, wouldn't you want to be making money off your music?
I don't know if all musicians want that, really.
Yeah, but if you're going to leave everything to be a musician,
right,
ergo, you would like to make some money off it.
There's so many different kinds of people, so many different stories. How many times has this really happened? Someone, like, leaves their life and they are not seen for 20 years.
I honestly can't think of any case where you didn't have some indication that they were going to do that.
Yeah.
Or a history of
There's
mental
not been
illness.
A sighting of him? Have there been
No?
sightings of him?
Actually, yeah. There have been people who have reported seeing him, but none of these have been strong leads.
Not like, for example, Amy Bradley, where we were like...
Correct.
We think she's been trafficked.
Yeah.
Not like some of those cases where we feel like, oh, that sighting was, like, for real.
I think what happened was he got into the car of someone who he shouldn't have gotten into the car of, and I think there was either the motive was to rob him or kill him. Just
what the car part of this is interesting to me. What, like, and you think that he just was, like, looking to hitch a ride to the Wendy's?
I don't have a hard, strong theory as to why he would have gotten into the car of someone. Maybe he was forced to get into a car. Do you really need a reason when you're drinking to do something that you shouldn't? And I think it just something unfortunate happened to him when he was not immediately near the bar. And part of why I believe this is when Singular had reported the pings in different locations, it sounds like the phone was in a car.
Right.
So maybe someone had picked it up. Maybe when it went to voicemail, when Alexis had called him, maybe someone had turned it on, and you find a phone.
How long have they been tracking the pings?
They reported Brian missing that Sunday. So he disappeared. He went out that Friday night, March 31st, 2006.
Right.
And when he wasn't answering his phone, Alexis had just assumed he was nursing a hangover or whatever. And they had been scheduled to leave for Miami that Monday. So then Alexis went over there Sunday to see what was happening, why he wasn't answering his phone.
Right.
I don't know exactly when they started tracking these pings, but when she had been calling his phone every night since he disappeared. Alexis called and got a ring 5 months after he disappeared. She called again and it rang through. She asked her brother to try and it worked for him. The last successful time that she called and it rang to his phone was between 3 and 5 a.m. that night, like in September.
Yeah.
By 8 a.m. that morning, it returned to going straight to voicemail. 2 days later, on September 10th, his phone began ringing again on and off and throughout the day. So I guess if it goes straight to voicemail, that means his phone is off. And that it
straight to voicemail means your phone is, yeah.
and then ringing would indicate that
it's on.
It's on.
Yeah. I had singular growing up. Because what, did they turn into AT&T?
I think I thought it was Sprint, but let's count all the times I'm wrong. It's AT&T now.
Yeah, it is AT&T.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, because I just switched away from AT&T, but yeah, I think
Did you now?
Yeah, I now have. I don't need to tell you what service provider I have. I have Xfinity. My mom is trying something new. No, yes,
my mom kicked me off the phone plan.
I think that is my mom's like last hold on me is but your phone, from what I remember from having a phone when I was 12, which actually could have been around 2006, honestly.
Yeah, we were 14 then.
We were 14, yeah. So I definitely had a little dumb phone. It would happen all the time where I would like call my phone to find out where it is, and all of a sudden it would ring a little bit, and I was like, oh my god, I can find it, like someone might have it, might be on the school bus or something, and it wouldn't pick up. Like it would just ring sometimes. It's like a glitch.
Oh, so you're saying you would call and it wouldn't, like the call wouldn't connect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why it wasn't a great phone service.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm out of business.
But also there are sometimes, I mean, Singular said it may have just been a glitch happening, it going to voicemail. I remember, phones are just weird. I remember when the Malaysian Airlines disappeared and the families of passengers who were on the planes, I remember like they were calling and not being able to get through, and I remember someone said when everyone was there at the airport or where, I'm assuming at the airport, they called and they were getting a ring. Oh. That it was ringing, and they were wondering, what are they okay? Is that, and I mean, chances are they weren't. Chances are the phone was destroyed. So things can happen.
That's for a different episode.
Yeah. What a tragedy. What a horrible mystery that one is. I think it was the pilot. I think it was the pilot for that one. We'll do an episode. Yeah.
For this case, for Brian Shaffer's case, I was thinking how like kind of awful it is that, like, you know, I used to, you could be anybody going out at night. You could be like anybody that has just trying to get home from bar hopping or something like that, and like that could be the, like, it was sad. It's sad to think about, like, I don't know, you should take care, like that's why you ask me when I get home every night. Like,
I mean, that's really me having the anxiety of my mother and making sure, oh my god, Pooja's dead. Can I tell you, I'll keep this very, very, very brief. My mom listens to this, so Mom, you're gonna love me telling this story. Mike and I went to a Jack White concert, and we had our phones in a like one of those bags, that you can't use it during the concert. And I guess my phone called her.
While it was in the bag?
Yeah, I think what happened was I went to the bathroom, because I remember when I put my phone in the bag, it wasn't locked. So I think I must have butt dialed her. And this woman for 3 hours straight called me and Mike's phone. And I didn't know, I had it on silent, so I didn't know that she was calling. And Mike thought that something was going on at work. And then I get off the phone and she's hysterical. And I felt bad that, like, you know, she was upset, but I was also like, what? Like 3 hours? Like, and she was like, I thought that you were calling me to tell me you were being murdered.
Oh.
I was like, don't you think that if that was happening, I would call the police or like someone who's going to do more than just call me for 3 hours? So just regarding the phones, I think that was just
a blip.
Or that someone had maybe found it on the road or something.
Right.
I don't think he took his own life. It's tough without knowing the person, obviously. But if he had taken his own life by jumping into water, which some people think, his body likely would have surfaced.
Turned up. Yeah. look, Columbus, Ohio is not, New York City. There's not people around all the time, every time. But it is a city.
Yeah.
It's not, like, completely not under surveillance. And
it's not the middle of nowhere.
It's not the middle of nowhere. And he was reported missing fairly soon. So it's not like the authorities were on the lookout.
Yeah, like within 48 hours.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the friends. I know some people think it's a little suspicious that his friend Clint Florence didn't want to take a lie detector test. I don't know. The thing that I have to say about that, I can see someone being skeptical.
Just, like, skeptical.
Yeah, not wanting to take a lie detector test. I think he had said, I told you everything I know.
I just wonder because, like, even if he lawyered up, you know?
Yeah, that was right. The one video said that before he gives any more information, he wants to talk to a lawyer. I think of that.
But if a lawyer,
as someone just being cautious.
I think lawyering up is not suspicious at all. Yeah. You lawyer up to do anything, you should do that. You should get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But often I feel like I'm curious if the lawyer advised against the lie detector test and for why.
That's possible. Yeah.
Like, why would you withhold that information after 20 years? Like, what could he possibly have to hide?
There's also been they weren't fighting.
Yeah.
Or at least there wasn't any indication of them fighting. It wasn't like they had anything. It wasn't like they were fighting for the same girl. It wasn't like they were in business together and something went sour.
Right.
It sounds like they were friends.
Yeah, they were friends.
And that's it.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe I'm, like, curious what he knows that might have swayed a lawyer from saying, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't take the lie detector test. I don't know if you can say that. You can refuse a lie detector. You can refuse
to, and then people get suspicious.
What do we get suspicious about, Like,
I think people think, well, you must have something to hide if you don't want to take a lie detector test. But again, I can see someone being cautious and saying, I don't want, if I answer something the wrong way, that to get misconstrued as I had some nefarious intent or whatever.
Yeah.
And we also don't know how much or how little he himself trusted in the police.
Right.
So,
I mean, I wonder, like, part of me, I was, in the weeds of Reddit and also, like, trying to weave together my own point of view on this. I'm like, did he know something that, like, would have made Brian's girlfriend mad? Like, was Brian flirting with one of these other girls? And is that, like, part of the story that, I don't know, like, does he have some, like, related but inconsequential information? Some of the Reddit posts, like I was saying before, are, like, so convinced that they see in the video Brian slipping his phone into one of the girls' purses.
I don't see that in the video. Do you?
No, I don't. I have no idea. It's like multiple posts say that, and I'm like, what are you seeing? Even if he did that, like, maybe that's something Clint knows, but then also, where did the phone go?
Yeah. Exactly. You would think that if he did, on the off chance that he did do that, these two women hear that this man has gone missing and they say, oh, I have his phone.
Right.
And then go to the police.
Right. And then there's, like, unravels this whole, like, conspiracy theory behind, like, the women and like, I don't think it doesn't make any sense. I'm sure they did their research.
Do we know if he knew these women or was he just
like they were just
talking?
Chatting.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems like they met at the bar.
Okay. I know some people wonder if he didn't leave the bar that night, if something happened to him in the bar. There were people. And there's no sign of blood in the bar. And there's no.
Just to be clear, like he the last time that camera footage is seen is like moments before the bar is closing.
Yes, he was last seen on camera outside the bar at 1:55 a.m.
And the bar closes at 2.
Yes, and we looked on Google Maps.
We sure did.
If that is the same as 20 years ago. I think New York is like one of the few cities where bars are open till 4 a.m.
Yeah, and I think 2 a.m. is like standard and like quite late for most cities. Yeah. So that's
for Columbus, Ohio.
Surely, yeah.
It's not exactly clear because the women, they don't look at him as he's off camera. So it's hard to tell if he did go back into the bar that night.
Right.
Who knows? Do I think it's weird that there's no footage of him leaving? Absolutely. But I do wonder if this was just a consequence of there being a lack of security footage.
Yeah, and also I think there's definitely a lack of security footage in that building. I'm sure they have more after this. I wish, that was kind of a public access thing. I would love to just I'm sure so many people have just sat there and watched it.
Yeah.
But looking for him. But I wonder if there was a mass exodus from the bar,
Oh yeah, I think there was actually.
I
think
it's
when
easy
it
for
closed,
someone to get lost in a stream of people going down an escalator. So we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely possible. Although these investigators look like
they did a lot.
Yeah, and I go back to the episode, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Did you know that there was a guy who got out of prison because of Curb Your Enthusiasm? Or he was arrested and charged with murder.
Oh.
And he argued that he was at this baseball game when the murder took place, and it wasn't possible. Of course, the prosecutor is not believing him, and they charge him, and he goes to trial. And it came out that there was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that was recording that day.
Oh.
So investigators had gone through hours and hours of this footage, and there's one shot he happens to walk in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love that Larry David, even in a very Larry David fashion, he even says, "I love that there's someone who owes their life to me."
He'll actually do anything for me right now. Anything I want.
I know that sounds like a tangent, but where I was going with that was that it seems like they pour hours into looking for people.
Right, yeah.
So.
There's probably so many things they have done that they haven't even talked about.
Yeah.
And it's
oh, for sure.
Obviously easy to sit here and be and I think I'm only saying that, giving them this much credence because it feels like they put a lot of work into this. So part of me wonders if it's because also it's such an odd case.
Yeah.
There really is no...
Med student goes missing. There's no...
Right.
Yeah.
And med student goes missing. Last time they were seen is on this camera, and then they completely disappear. Usually there's some kind of trail to follow.
For sure. And it seemed like he had things to look forward to.
Yeah.
He was going on this trip with Alexis, and people thought that he was going to propose. Sure, people get cold feet all the time, but that doesn't sound like the
what the hell?
steps.
Go to Miami. You don't have to propose to
that
her.
Was the if he wanted to just be a beach bum, he was going to Miami.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he just go on that trip?
Yeah.
So I do think that he came into contact with foul play, leaving the bar. What kind of foul play? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the smiley face killer was ruled out, but it was a theory. I think with the smiley face killer, the conclusion is that they would have found his body because
they found the other bodies. Yeah,
I don't know, but it is sad, and I feel horrible for his brother who lost his mother. Within that month, loses his brother disappears, and then 2 years later, his father dies in a freak accident.
Yeah,
that's just fucked.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, it's a domino effect a little bit, or you can see it kind of as a domino effect.
Yeah.
Mom dies, that puts Brian in an unsettled place. He disappears. That tragedy, something the dad never gets over, and then eventually falls ill. So there is a little bit of a domino effect here, and I think we're right to kind of weigh a lot of the emotional weight of this on his mom dying.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely...
But not enough to take his own life, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a tragic event enough to alter your life, but I don't think Brian was the type of person who wanted
Didn't seem that way.
to take his own life.
Yeah.
Who wanted to end his life.
Right.
So what exactly happened, I don't know. I do think someone knows.
You think someone knows because you think someone killed him.
Yes.
Yeah. You think someone killed him. I think some kind of accident happened. And
that they just haven't found his body.
Yeah. But
an accident, you would think that they were looking in that area. Maybe an accident happened
elsewhere.
But then dogs would have picked up the trace.
Yeah, no,
That's
I know.
why I think the car theory that he got in and they can't catch his trace because he was in a car.
Yeah, I mean, the more I talk to you about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I guess it's easier to cover up a murder than it is to cover up an accident, because no one knows that it happened.
Yeah.
I don't think he's unfortunately, I don't think he is alive today.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, tough case.
Another incident of a psychic telling Brian's father, Randy, that his body was in the water.
Where are people getting these psychics? I guess, like, when you're really distraught, you're like, I gotta find some solution.
Yeah. He visited a psychic, yeah. So, yeah, if you're distraught for answers.
Because in our previous case for the Springfield 3, a psychic came out of the woodwork.
Yeah, just out of the blue.
Out of the blue. But here, this was a consulted person.
Yeah. I mean, I can see, like, all bets are off when it comes to your kids. You know, you'll do anything.
Yeah. I would go to multiple psychics. I wonder what another psychic would have said.
Yeah.
The idea of him being in a creek, like, I wonder, not to discredit the psychics, not trying to get on the bad side of psychic karma, but, like, is that kind of a smiley face killer kind of thing?
Like, just associating because he's a handsome young man that, smiley face killer.
Like, did they take that information from the psychic and give it to the police? They must have.
Oh, did Brian's family do that? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, I'm curious if the police put any credence into it. They must have at some point.
Yeah, I would assume that when they're looking, when they're searching the area, this is also including bodies of water. And if his phone is being pinged in multiple different locations in Ohio, they're checking that out too. When Brian's father, Randy, passed away, when his obituary was posted online, a condolence message appeared reading, "To Dad, love Brian from the U.S. Virgin Islands," but police traced it to a public computer and confirmed it was a hoax. I stand by what I said during the Amy Bradley case. Mm-hmm. I think that's punishable by death. I stand by it.
It's really a horrible thing to do.
Yeah. I don't get what kind of person gets kicks from doing that.
It's either, someone really mean, but more, I think it's someone who is so invested in things like this that they feel like they have some right. The emotions of the people of the people affected, the family members, and it's its own special kind of psychosis, I think.
Yeah.
That
it definitely has to be mental illness to think like you.
Oh yeah, this is a great idea. Oh, this will make someone feel better. This will, like, that would just send me spiraling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they don't think about the actual people who care about this person and finding out that this is fake or the hope that this person might be alive still. Yeah, it's messed up. It's not messed up, though, is how cool Eddie Vedder is.
It's so interesting to me that, like, the Pearl Jam really, like, took this on.
Yeah. So Brian Shaffer had a Pearl Jam, like, a logo tattoo. Mm-hmm. And during one of their concerts, Eddie Vedder pleaded with audience members during a concert to come forward with any information. And I think that's really cool, using your platform to bring awareness to people. And, like, in the video, he's saying, like, he was one of us. He feels like one of us.
He's one of us, and we miss him here tonight.
So,
Pearl Jam fans.
Good guy, Eddie Vedder. Jeremy. A Better Man is my favorite.
Yeah, Better Man is a great song.
One of the first songs I learned on guitar, which Brian also played.
Yeah.
He seems like he was like a cool guy.
He seemed sweet, yeah.
Smart, obviously, if he's going to med school.
Yeah.
And he seemed like he was a good friend and a good boyfriend and played guitar. That's cool.
It's just so hard to, like, say, yeah, that kind of person wouldn't. You have no idea what kind of person would do anything to themselves. So I'm not here saying that I think that that's what happened, but we don't know him.
Yeah. And I don't know if we ever will know. I think this is probably, there were just too many unfortunate circumstances in this case to come to a conclusion. there was no evidence
Yeah.
of anything. So there's no evidence of a struggle. There's no evidence that anything did happen to him. He literally vanished in thin air.
Yeah.
And I think if something did happen to him and someone has a guilty conscience, I think unless that happens, it will probably be a mystery forever,
That's right.
which is really sad. I do hope his brother and Alexis can get some closure someday. Yeah, I think that'll be it for this episode. We really hope that you enjoyed listening to us. I tried to not have too many tangents in this episode.
It's hard with a case like this, but I think the ultimate end-all be-all is we cannot solve this one, Rachel. We're in the dark.
Let us know what your thoughts are about the disappearance of Brian Shaffer in the comments. And also, if you have any ideas on cases you would like us to cover, we're always open to suggestions.
But until then,
We'll see you next time in the dark.